Hey guys, Sandra here from Gitana Styling and the Fashion Entrepreneur Club. In this episode, we're going to talk about reselling. If you've been wondering whether reselling is for you, I'm going to go over the whole process that I go through when it comes to reselling. I'm going to try to make it as simple as possible and I'm not going to do it super long. I'm going to just kind of walk you through the process so you see like all the stages and, think about whether you would like to do that kind of thing or not. So the first thing I want to say, if you don't know me, I am the head of the Fashion Entrepreneur Club, and I am a stylist. I'm a fashion stylist. I dress people, and so I have access to a lot of clothing. Throughout my life, I've been lucky to work with designers and do fashion shows and photo shoots and things like that. So I always end up having a bunch of clothing, and I used to, in the beginning, just whatever I had that I knew I didn't want or that someone around me didn't want, but it was in great condition and it was designer and all of that. I knew someone out there who wanted it. So I started listing it on Poshmark to sell it. And that's how this whole reselling thing started. I just always like the process. I like also looking, hunting for clothes and I like trends and all of these different elements, right? So I just been doing it more and more and learning more about the process. So if you need more information, I'm gonna link some videos below. But again, in this one, what we're gonna do is just go over kind of like the whole process. So you know what you're getting yourself into, whether you are a stylist and you want to do it as a side thing, or maybe you just love fashion and just want to have a reselling business, then hopefully this video will help you, okay? The first thing I want to say is that it is hard work. So if you think, oh, this is a side job or a job, you can do it full time, right? And be like, oh, it's going to be easy. It is hard work. It's fun. I love it, but it is hard work. Physical work, you have to do a lot of things. You have to be very detail oriented, right? You have to do research. And yeah, so just know that it is going to take work for it to get to the place that you want it to take it to. Okay, so the first thing, right, if you want to start your reselling business, is you're going to have to take care of the sourcing, which is getting your inventory, getting the clothes, right? Or well, maybe you would like to focus on accessories or shoes or everything. I recommend always picking a particular category and then expand, but it's up to you, right? So when it comes to sourcing nowadays, we can source in person or we can source online, right? And there's many options out there. So I'm a person who likes to see things, who likes to touch things. I want to see the quality of the item. I want to see if it has flaws or not. And I know that there's a lot of online sites that they do that work for you, and they're amazing. But for me, I like that, and I also enjoy that process. So for me, I like going to a thrift store or a local Goodwill and check out what they have. And I always like to focus on items that they're new. Okay, because and then I still have to check them because I'm like, okay, why would someone donate this item, right? I want to make sure that it doesn't have any flaws or anything like that, right? I always like to sell either almost new items, like, items that you can see that they're flawless, right? Or items that are new, but it's up to you, right? And so if you're like me and you like doing the in-person thing, there's many ways to go about it. There's state sales, there's garage sales, there's thrift stores, there's Goodwill stores. There's so many ways, right? And then if you want to go the online route, there's a lot of different websites, right? And you just have to get familiar with them and just started to looking for the best prices so you can make a good profit, right? So when it comes to sourcing, you can do that. Some people like to do both things. Some people like to focus on one, whatever works for you. Okay. Then once you get your inventory, right? And again, this is like an overview because if not, it's just going to take forever. And if you have any questions, please just leave them below. And if you want me to focus on something in particular, let me know. I would love to do another video for you about this. So the next thing is when you're building your inventory, you also have to think about your budget, right? So how much you're going to spend and, how much profit you can make, how much, all of these things are important. and figuring out a system where that you include in there how much you're going to spend, for example, in shipping materials when someone purchases that order and you have to send it out. If you have packing materials, any cost that you have to obviously include it in there with the clothing item, and then calculate your profit. So those are things to just think about. So that's another area that we're going to focus more on the shipping, but I just wanted to bring it out now. Okay. The other thing is, after you have your inventory, you have to process it. So everybody has a system for it. I try to perfect it as I do it more and more. I like to bring it home. Some people like to wash the clothes. Some people don't like washing the clothes. Since I most of the time, 99% of the time, buy something that it's like new or new with tags, I do not wash the items. If someone donates an item to me, or I use it, for example, for a photo shoot or a fashion show, right? I do like washing it, but if it's new and it has tags or you can tell that it's like new, then I don't wash it. I do like to steam it. A lot of people skip this. I love, maybe because I'm a stylist, I like to, see it all perfect, no lines. And when I take pictures of them, I want it to look really nice. So I try to steam it. I'm not an iron lady. I don't like spending all that time doing that, but I do steam really quick, make sure that it doesn't have any wrinkles, and for me to take the pictures, right? Then I like to take the pictures. When I'm taking the pictures, I like to measure the items. I want to give the customer as much information as possible, right? The waist, the hips, the length, all of those things. Some items don't need it because they're stretchy and they're, very traditional and people know. But for items like jeans, right, or dresses, you need to provide those measurements, because if not, people are going to be asking for it. And if there's someone else who provides those measurements, they might go with that person right away because you didn't answer on time. So that's part of the processing for me. Okay, then once I take the pictures and everything, which for the pictures, obviously you have to set up a system as well, right? You might need lights, or you might use natural light if you have a place in your home that has good lighting, right? Then is that an area that you're gonna set up in your house only for that, or is it something that you're gonna set up so you're gonna have, I don't know, a bag with all your lights and everything to set it up, right? You have to think about those things because all that stuff takes time. And if you have to do this regularly, if this is going to be something that you're going to do regularly, whether it's a side hustle or it's your business, right? It has to flow. The other thing is, once I take the pictures and all of that, I process my inventory, right? So I use a tool called Vendu, where I do a lot of things with them, we'll talk about in a little bit. But in there, once you add the items in and you put all the information here in, it saves it as an inventory, and then I don't have to do anything else. Everything is there, okay? So some people do the traditional spreadsheets, but I like to do it there because it does all the calculations and everything for me. Vendu is a tool that I use to list items, relist items, okay, to lower the prices and do all kinds of things. It's a tool that it's separate from Poshmark, and I use it to save time. I do have an affiliate link if you want to check it out. I will leave it below for you, but I use it basically for that, for listing and relisting, which we'll talk a little bit more about it. So when I process my item, I like to keep them in bins. I don't pack them, okay? I just fold them nicely and everything, and I put them in my inventory, and I have a system, right? So I know how many items and in which box and all of that. You have to figure out the inventory system that works for you. Some people like to have a storage, some people keep it in a room in their house, whatever works for you. I like to keep it inside a bin, plastic bin, so no smells, nothing comes in there, so it's protected. A lot of people like to pack them already and then individually pack them, and then when the sale happens, just ship it. I don't like doing that. I know most of the people do it, and it's probably the fastest thing to do, I like to have them separate because some people bundle things, some people, and then I have to pack it in a different way. Or, for example, an item, some items get very wrinkly, right, because of the fabric, and I don't like sending items in that condition. So even if I steam it for the pictures and I put it away and then I sell it, and if it's all wrinkled, I don't want to send it to my customer like that. I like to steam it again and put it nicely and then pack it and send it. So yes, again, that might take more time and that might be the stylist in me, but that's how I do it. You can decide what you want to do. A lot of people just pack it once they go through that processing system, put it in a box, forget about it, and whenever they sell it, they sell it. Another reason I don't like doing that is because I feel like when things are packed in a bag like that, they smell like they've been packed forever. So I don't like that either. I like to keep them in a box so they don't get smells from the outside, but I want them to have air. And I open the box to get something out, and right, for another item that I sold or whatever, and there has a flow of air so it doesn't smell stale or anything like that. Okay, enough about that. So then I process it, then I have to upload it, right? Upload it to my store. So to do that, a lot of people like to set up a nice area in their home to take the pictures and then use those pictures as is, which I recommend is the best thing to do because you're going to save the most time. Now, right now where I am at, I don't have that luxury because it's very small and I don't have good lighting, natural lighting. So I have to use other kind of lighting, and I had to wait for the sun to be out at a certain time, and it's a little more complicated. Probably my next place, I'm gonna set an area for that. In here, I have set an area for that, but I have to coordinate a bunch of different things. So I like to then edit the pictures to take out the background and work a little bit with the lighting, with the editing, so it shows the colors, because sometimes it's too dark and the color doesn't really show how it actually is. It needs a little bit more light so you can actually see the color. So, again, things that you have to work out, whether, you're in a place that has lighting or not. Oh, you want to do it outside. A lot of people like to do it outside, for example. I would like to, ideally, the place that I was in before, I had very good lighting, so I had an area for it, which I would like to go back to. But like I said, if that's not the case for you, right? If you don't have a nice wall that has good lighting or a nice area, maybe on the floor that you can set up, or a chair or something, you have to figure out what's the best way to portray that item for you. Then you can use editing tools, which are going to take a little bit more time, but still going to make them look professional. So I like doing that. Then I do that. Then I do a little bit of research. Thank God, because of my background, I'm very good with like clothing and knowing the names of things and the designers and certain items like that. So I don't have to do as much research, but still I like to, look it up and find the original one and see how they describe it and try to, create the best description possible, because that's what's going to sell. Not only because people are going to like the description, but because that's going to be fine. They're going to be able to find it, because Poshmark, or whichever platform you use, it's a search engine. Whatever people type up, right, it's going to link them to that description. So if you don't have a good description, how are they going to find it? So focusing on the description is very, very important. And keywords and things like that, you have to include them. Okay, so that is part of that processing thing, right? So you have your pictures, you edit them, or not, whatever works for you, and then you do your description, you upload it, right? And then it's live, right? It's live on the store, and then that's where my tools come in that I use. I used to do this manually, but it takes a lot of time. So nowadays I use certain tools, online tools, that help me do a lot of this stuff automatically. So I use a tool called Poshmark VA, which is a bot that I set it up in a way that whenever someone likes an item, they get an offer from me, even if I'm sleeping, right? And then I like to send offers throughout the week to encourage people to buy up items. So I do that as well. And I also use it to share the items. So instead of me being there with my phone, an hour or whatever sharing items, because as you grow your inventory, it's going to get again, crazier and crazier. I like to use the bot for that. So that's Poshmark VA, which I can share also a affiliate link if you want to check it out. It's amazing. And then I use Vendu, which is the other one that I mentioned in the beginning, which is for listing and relisting. So on Poshmark, it's very important to have new items all the time in your closet. So if you are not adding new items, let's say you don't have the budget for it, right? And you cannot add new items, you can fix the old items, right? Make them better, do some research, maybe change the pictures, update the keywords, things like that, and then it will count as a new item or an updated item. So that's what you call relisting, right? Well, it counts as a relisting. Relisting basically is when you take an old item and you list it again. Okay, so you can combine listing and relisting, right? If you're listing for the first time, amazing, right? If you have a new item to add, amazing. But if you don't worry, the relisting also counts. If you can perfect, you can improve an old item, and then it can count as a new one. And I like to do those things with Vendu, because with a few clicks, you can go ahead and list and relist. So for example, if I'm adding new items, I do it manually, and then I add it to Vendu. So then whenever, let's say I put an item out there and it's been 2 weeks and nothing has happened and I want to relist it, I want to check it out, see if I can improve it or whatever, and I improve it and then I relist it with Vendu. Okay, so I can share that with you as well, that link. That area, all the stuff that I'm talking about, it's part of the processing and part of the selling process. Because a lot of people, for example, they're having these stores, whether you use Mercari or eBay, or I'm talking about Poshmark because that's the one I use, but you can use any platform that you like, right? Whatnot, whatever it is. And then they go through this whole process that I've talked about so far, and then they just put the item there, list it, and then that's it. They're just waiting for the sales. And that used to be me in the beginning. I would just list something and wait for it. Of course, I would share my closet to get more views and things like that, but I would basically wait. And I'm like, no, there has to be something I can do. And then that's when I started learning about Poshmark VA and sending offers and incentives and all of that. So I like to use these tools to get that, marketing and sales process going. So what I like to do, and I have more videos about this that I can share with you below if you want to get deeper into it. So, but definitely in Poshmark, for example, if you want to sell, you have to list consistently, okay? Which can be, like I said, new items or old items that you update them. Then you have to share consistently, okay, many times a day. Okay, not just once, not just twice. You have to share it many times a day, because that's how the listings list higher in the platform and more people can see them. Okay, and then you have to make offers and give incentives, free shipping or things like that to entice your customer, right, to get the item. So let me know if you have more questions about that. And then the last part of the process is the shipping. So when it comes to the shipping, what I mentioned in the beginning, you have to think about including that in the budget. Where are you going to get your materials? Are you going to use boxes? Are you going to use envelopes? Do you need something to protect the items, right? I like to use padded envelopes. Sometimes I use boxes from the regular mail. Regular mail has free boxes for you, priority boxes. They're there free for you. You can grab them. Or you can use your own boxes if you have them, right? That you have from previous things or other packages. Just make sure that you cover everything, that it doesn't have any personal information, right? I like to either use the ones from the regular mail because it looks professional, or my padded envelopes because it protects the merchandise, right? That padding helps. So, and I also sometimes I use a little bit of bubble wrap. Sometimes I always like to put it inside a plastic bag in case it rains or something and the water gets inside. Like, different things to think about. I like to include like a thank you note, right? Or a thank you sticker. Sometimes I like to include a little gift. Like there's many things you can go about it. Just think about how do you want to present it? How do you want to, some people like to include a card, a business card. I used to do that. Now I do more of the thank you. So there's many things you can do. Just think about it and include it in the budget. Also, in my case, I do the shipping process. For me, that shipping process is longer because, like I mentioned, I have them in boxes. So I go to my, when there's a sale, I go to my inventory, I see which box is it, I go and get it. Sometimes I steam it if it's not, if it's wrinkled, for example, it's been there and it's wrinkled, I like to steam it and then fold it nicely. If it's in good shape, then I just fold it nicely. I put it inside a bag. Then I have to print my labels. I would like to buy a label printer, right? To make it even faster. But nowadays I just use the paper with the pouch. And it works beautifully. And I do everything at home. I pack it nicely, make sure that it's protected. I go to the mail and ship it. Some people have the luxury of the mailman coming to their house, right? And of course, you can schedule free pickups with the mail, but it depends on where you live. So that's something that you have to find out. You can go to the website, to the USPS mail website, and then check that out. Or maybe a lot of people I know that because they leave it at homes, houses, they talk to the mailman and they're like, can you pick up my packages? And they have an arrangement and they do it. So it depends, right? What you do. I have a mail post office in front of my house, so it's no problem. Thank God. So that's another area to figure out. So basically, this whole thing, that's kind of like the overview of the whole process. Of course, there's more things that probably I didn't think about, but I try to, try to include as much as possible what I remember. That's basically what I go through day in and day out. And what has made this more profitable and more doable and less time consuming has definitely been the apps that I've used, the tools that I've used, like Poshmark, like Vendu. And as you get to do it more and more, you find more processes that work for you. And there's things, like I said, like having a certain area in your house already prepared with your lighting and everything, or not doing the editing of the pictures, or having an area with all your packaging materials. All of those things count and they're part of it. But I just wanted to mention all the different things so you know what you're have to go through. I personally like the whole thing. I enjoy doing it a lot. The only thing is that, you're always like in this treadmill of you have to list, you have to list, you have to ship, you have to, you're in this treadmill, which is fun and excited, but it's also exciting, but it's also tiring. Sometimes I wish we didn't have like pressure, pressure of like you want to ship it on time, or pressure that, you have to do so many listings so quickly, like all of that, right? But I guess that's something that you have to get into the flow. The better you do it, the more time that you have, the more tools that you use, the more time that you have, and the less stressful that it is. Also, you can hire people to help you with this as you grow. Maybe you can outsource the editing of the pictures or the listing the items, right? Or you can have a partner in your business that helps you with that part of it if that's something that you don't like. Luckily, I enjoy the whole process, so I like to do it, but I have things in my list of things that I want to do to make sure for the next stage, to make sure that I can be more profitable, that I can again save more time, and that I can be less tired. So you have to figure out those things for you. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if this sounds like something you would like to do. Yeah, I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I will see you guys in our next episode. Okay, bye, guys.